Let's talk about the differences between semaglutide and tirzepatide. I have taken both of these medications during my journey, and I have been asked recently to talk a little bit more about my experience on both of them. If you don't know who I am, my name is Nikki, and I have been on a GLP-1 for more than 2.5 years since March of 2023. And I've lost about 80 pounds since starting these medications. My life has completely changed. I've created the GLP-1 Girl Code, which is a membership for women who are on GLP-1 medications. And I've just changed in so many different aspects of my life. But one of the questions that I do get quite often, especially with this huge spike in prices for tirzepatide in the UK, and many people thinking about going ahead and switching over to semaglutide. I've gotten some more questions recently about why I switched and about the differences between the two medications. So we are going to deep dive into that in today's video. So I did a little bit of research, and the price of tirzepatide in the UK has been very affordable, and now it's going up quite a bit. So it's almost like what we pay for semaglutide in the US is what people in UK were paying for their tirzepatide. And now the dosing is going up to the price to pretty much match where we are at in the US. And that sucks. Like, we all know that we absolutely hate the price of tirzepatide here in the US. And when we're talking about tirzepatide, we're talking about like Eli Lilly's tirzepatide, Mounjaro, and Zepbound. It has been extremely affordable in the UK this entire time. I actually asked ChatGPT because I don't know the pricing equivalents between UK and US dollars, but the price for Mounjaro in the UK right now is 122 pounds, which is $165 in the US. And it sucks that it's being raised, because now what they're saying is it's going to be raised to 330 pounds, which is $447 in the US. So essentially what's happening is the price that we're paying and that we've been paying for the last so on years is now going to be reflected in the UK as well to match, I guess, everybody else. But it sucks because a lot of people are reliant on this medication everywhere, right? But in the UK, and you guys have been able to afford it, and now it's going to be really ridiculously priced. And I don't know the telehealth programs over in the UK. I don't know how that works. I don't know if you guys are able to get compounded medications. I don't know any of this. So this price hike is going to be a big deal for a lot of men and women in the UK. And for that, I just want to say I'm so sorry. But in this video, we're going to talk about the difference between semaglutide and tirzepatide, and if maybe you should make that switch to a more affordable semaglutide when that price hike happens. Okay, so I started off on semaglutide back in March of 2023. I did not know anything about these medications, like nothing. I went into a weight loss clinic in my local area. I was going to start their RM3 program, but I was introduced to a sublingual form of semaglutide. After that, I seeked out a telehealth company and started taking an injectable form of compounded semaglutide. So to be very clear, I have never taken name brand. My insurance has never covered it. I've never been able to afford a name brand medication, but semaglutide is the active ingredient in Wegovy and Ozempic, whereas tirzepatide is the active ingredient in Zepbound and Mounjaro. When I started on semaglutide, which is the equivalent of Ozempic or Wegovy. When I started, it went amazingly. Like, my life changed. It flipped upside down. I went from eating everything in sight, overeating, binging, all of the things, to that food noise just quieting down almost immediately. Like, literally within the first week, I noticed the food noise disappearing. I started losing weight really, really quickly. I want to say the very first week I lost almost 10 pounds. Then the next week I lost like 7. Throughout that first month, I probably lost between 10 and 12. I'm not exactly sure exactly how much I lost, but I do have a video where I go by literally month by month of exactly how much I lost. So you can check that out. And it will talk a little bit about more of that, how I was feeling within those months on semaglutide, and then how it switched over to tirzepatide. So that's another video that you could absolutely check out that will kind of explain this process as well. For this video, we're going to talk about like just the side effects that I had on semaglutide versus the side effects that I had on Mounjaro, and if I think that one of the medications are better than the other. Okay. All right. So semaglutide was working for me really, really quickly. I lost weight fast. I want to say I lost like the first 40 pounds by like September of that year. So from March until September, about my first 6 months on semaglutide, I lost my first 40 pounds. I was getting extremely close to Wonderland. I was feeling amazing. And at about that time is when I went on a vacation. But let's rewind a little bit. Let's talk about the side effects, because I was having some pretty significant side effects as I started dosing up. On the 0.25 dose, I had no side effects. And at that time, we didn't know we could stay on a low dose. So we were dosing up every 4 weeks because we just didn't know any better. It was the beginning of this. Very few people were on TikTok. Very few people were sharing their stories. And we were just doing what the manufacturer and our doctor was telling us to do. So I did 0.25 for 4 weeks, and I lost a good amount of weight on 0.25. But because I was told that I had to dose up, I went up to 0.5. And on 0.5, things were really good as well. I was losing weight, things were happening. If I could go back, I would have stayed on 0.25 for more weeks than that, but I just didn't know, so I dosed up. I also was in this mindset of the more medication I have, the more weight loss I would lose, and I just really wanted to get up to the highest dose as fast as possible because I thought it was going to like make the weight loss just fall off, right? And I think a lot of people still have that idea when it's just not the case. I handled the 0.5 dose really, really well as well. And then instead of going up, so like the manufacturer will say like go from 0.5 all the way up to 1 milligrams. That's changed a little bit since then, but that's what they wanted me to do. And I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. So I actually went from 0.5 to 0.75. And on 0.75, I was okay as well. I started getting a little bit of the side effects as far as like the sulfur burps and the diarrhea. And those are my 2 side effects that I've dealt with the most that I just can't deal with as a teacher. So as my full-time job, I cannot have diarrhea because I'm a teacher, and I cannot just exit my classroom whenever I want to use the restroom. If I was working at home or I didn't have something where I could just like go to the bathroom all the time, this side effect really wouldn't have affected me as bad as it did. But I was on the 0.75 dose, and then I went up to 1 milligram. When I went up to the 1 milligram dose, that's when the side effects were too much. Like I could not handle them anymore. I was feeling absolutely atrocious. Like I felt so bad just because I was just in the bathroom all the time. Like every single week I would have diarrhea for multiple days. And then the sulfur burps were so bad that I hated them. I hated them so much. And at that point, we were getting ready to go on a vacation over to Hawaii for that fall break. And I went ahead and I took off like 3 weeks of the medication. During those 3 weeks, obviously, I gained a little bit of weight back. I was having a hard time getting back into the weight loss phase. When I came back, I went back down to 0.5 milligrams, and I just wasn't losing weight like I was before. And at this time was when the huge like craze of Zepbound started happening. Everyone was talking about Zepbound. It had just been released for weight loss management. And I really, really went into this, is the grass greener on the other side mind space. I thought that everyone was taking Tirzepatide. I am very much influenced, and I want to do what everyone else is doing. And everyone else was taking Tirzepatide. They were switching. They were talking about how amazing it was and how fast they could lose weight. And I had just gotten back from vacation. My weight loss had significantly slowed down because of the vacation. I was having like the diarrhea and the side effects. And at that point, I had decided that I wanted to switch to Tirzepatide. That is literally the only reason, though. Semaglutide worked amazingly for me. And that's what I really want you guys to know, is that although I am on Tirzepatide and I haven't gone back to semaglutide, the only reason for that is because it's not more expensive for me to be on Tirzepatide than semaglutide. And I'm very lucky that I am in that position to where I could take either one of the medications and it's not more expensive for me. And because of that, I just haven't switched back. But if it came to a point, like if I was in your situation and I had to switch to semaglutide because it was more affordable for me, 100% I would do it, and I wouldn't even bat an eye. I would be probably excited, honestly. I've actually considered possibly switching back to semaglutide to see if it works better for me, because I've been so stalled on Tirzepatide lately that like I've lost less weight on Tirzepatide than I ever lost on Semaglutide. Actually, it's probably about even at this point, but keep in mind that it was 7 months on Semaglutide and I've been on Tirzepatide for over almost 2 years. In November, so in 2 months, in November, I will have been on Tirzepatide for 2 years. And I have lost about 40 pounds on Tirzepatide, whereas I lost that on Semaglutide in 7 months. Also, though, I was at a higher weight, and when you start at a higher weight, you're going to lose weight faster. So I do think that plays a huge role. Once I got to a lower weight, it's always going to slow down. That's how it is for everybody. If you are starting at a low weight, it's going to take you longer to lose the weight than if you were to start at a higher weight. Which means for me, I cannot figure out if it's because I started from the higher weight or if semaglutide actually does work better for me. I truly don't know. I just know that Tirzepatide, when I switched over to Tirzepatide, I feel like the side effects took longer to start. However, I'm still on a very low dose because if I go up to the 10 milligram dose, which is the same dose, like it's the equivalent semaglutide dose of 1 milligram, right? If I go up to 10 milligrams on Tirzepatide, those exact same side effects that I was having on semaglutide, they come back. I have the diarrhea, I have the sulfur burps, I have all of the things. And just to be very clear, the reason why I have diarrhea and sulfur burps are because of the foods that I eat. So if you're changing your diet, or if your diet has already changed, or you eat better than I do, which for the mass majority of you probably do, you may not have the same side effects that I was having because my side effects are completely due to the foods that I was choosing or the foods that I do choose, which is why I don't dose up because I don't want the side effects. And I also don't want to change what I'm eating completely. I do plan to make small changes to what I'm eating throughout the next lifespan of my life, right? But it's very slow and it's not a hit or miss. I will always eat my favorite foods. And I know that if I'm on a high dose and I eat my favorite foods, the likelihood of having the sulfur burps and diarrhea are tenfold. But it didn't make a difference between which medication I was on. And I truly believe that both of these medications are amazing and they both worked for me. However, I need you to keep in mind that everybody is different, every body is different. So what works for my body may not work for your body. Some people don't react to semaglutide at all. Some people don't react to tirzepatide and are better off on semaglutide. You really don't know which one is better for you or if there is a better one until you try them both. For me, there's not a better one. For me, I honestly maybe have started considering that semaglutide may have worked better for me, but I don't know. And that's the truth of the matter. The difference is, of course, between the two medications is that semaglutide is just a GLP-1. That's it. It just has a GLP-1 hormone mimicker. So it's going to help slow down your digestion. It's going to help send those hunger signals that you're full to your brain and slow down your eating and quiet that food noise. Whereas tirzepatide has both a GLP-1 and a GIP hormone mimicker. So it just has a little bit of extra pizzazz. But again, I don't know if it's doing anything for me. Some people will say that tirzepatide helps with like the bloating more because of the GIP inhibitor, but like I don't feel like I've noticed a difference between the two medications. When I look back, I had a much better experience those 7 months on semaglutide than I have on tirzepatide in regards to the scale. Obviously, these last 2 years have been amazing in my life professionally and personally. But when we're talking about the scale, semaglutide was better for me. But we don't know if it's because I was just at a higher weight. So the scientist in me really does want to try semaglutide again and see if it works better. But then also the part of me that doesn't like change just wants to stick to what I'm doing and just keep doing it the best that I can. If you were going to ask me, I would tell you, just like I tell everyone else, that if price is a factor, get on semaglutide. Semaglutide is just as good as tirzepatide for me. Okay, let me know if you have any questions and I can clear anything up in the comments. And if you are looking for a space of women who are on this GLP-1 journey, whether we're on semaglutide or tirzepatide or Zepbound or Wegovy or any of the GLP-1s, the GLP-1 Girl Code is open and available for you. I am running a giveaway right now. If you go to the link down below, I have my giveaway link to where you can actually sign up for the giveaway, and I'm giving away one free lifetime membership, golden ticket to the GLP-1 Girl Code. I don't know for how long. I'm thinking once a week for as long as I just feel like it, I guess, as long as I think it's being helpful to my channel and helpful to the women who want inside but maybe can't afford to come inside. Then that's there down below. And if you're just getting started and you want to do some more research, I do have a free GLP-1 starter guide down below. All right, if you want to get to know me a little bit better, I'm going to link another video right here for you to check out. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that like button, and I will see you in my next video. Remember, you are doing much better than you think. You've got this. Bye.